Okay, so here we go, guys. What we're going to do is we're going to solve the following system of equations graphically, and we're going to check. So we have two equations, we have two unknowns, and remember what the object is to graph each one by themselves, and you're looking for the point at which they intersect. So I'm going to take the first one. 2y is equal to x plus 6. And what I want to do with that first equation is I always want to try to get it, if it's possible, in the form y equals mx plus b. That's the form I want to get, and then I can graph it from there. So if I take a look at that question, 2y, or that linear function, 2y is equal to x plus 6, what do I have to do to both sides to get y by itself? Look at y. How do I get y by itself? Forget about the other side. Just tell me how I get y by itself. Divide by 2. Okay, so I'm going to divide this by 2. When I go to the other side, that division of 2 is just divide each piece by 2. Okay? So now I get y is equal to, over here, this first part, I'm going to write it as a fraction in front of x. What's the number in front of x if there's no number there? 1. So this is really 1 divided by 2, x, plus, what's 6 divided by 2? 3. Okay? So now, what's my m? 1 over 2, good. And what's my b? 3. Now let's use those two facts and let's graph my line. Where do I start? I start at y equals 3. 1, 2, 3. Put a point. Now remember, here's my slope. The denominator is my change in x and my numerator is that change in y. So how far do we move over in the x? 2. And how far do we move up in the y? 1. So let's do that a couple times. 1, 2 in the x, up 1 in the y. From this point, 1, 2 in the x, up 1 in the y. And if you want to do it one more time, and we get my points. Okay? It looks like a line. Let's take my ruler. Let's make sure we're careful with this because we're looking for where two lines cross, so we have to be pretty accurate with making my line. So it's real important that you do use a straight edge now because we're not just graphing that piece, we're interested in where two lines cross, so you got to get it pretty accurate. And then label it the original equation. The original equation, 2y is equal to x plus 6. And the part 1 of your problem now is done. Part 2 is to move on and try to take care of the second line. The second line is 3x minus y is equal to 2. Okay? Now anytime y has a negative in front, that's probably one I want to take care of first. I'm going to move the y over, guys, to make sure I don't have that negative in front anymore. So I'm going to add y to both sides. So now I get 3x is equal to y plus 2. How can I get y by itself? Once y is positive, look at what's going on with the y side. How do I get rid of the plus 2? I'm going to subtract 2. Good. And that's going to leave me with, I'm going to bring it down here, y is equal to 3x minus 2. Y is by itself, so I'm able to determine what the slope and what the y-intercept is. What is the slope of this line? 3 over 1. Good. What is the y-intercept? Negative 2. So where do I start? Good. We're getting there. Negative 2. And now remember, the numerator is my change in y, denominator my change in x. So I'm going to move from that point a plus 1 in the x direction and then a plus 3 in the y direction. Here we go. Plus 1, plus 3. Plus 1, plus 3. Plus 1, plus 3. I have enough points. Take your ruler, connect those dots. You can start getting somewhat excited because you definitely see we have that point of intersection, which is going to be very important, but make sure you finish the problem first. 3x minus y is equal to 2. You're going to label that graph. Okay? Now remember, we're solving a system. When we solve a system, our answer is going to be that place where they intersect. So circle that point and tell me the coordinates at that point. So I'm going to move over 1, 2 in the x, and then up 4 in the y. 2, 4. Questions on that so far? Okay, so that's the actual answer to the solution. The last piece we want to do is we want to check. And I told you guys, when we use the word we check this, we write the word checkout, we write the ordered pair with the parentheses around them, and then you tell me what each of the numbers really represent. What's the x equal to? X is equal to 2, and y is equal to 4. And we start with one equation at a time. The first equation was 2y is equal to x plus 6. So now we plug in our 2 and our 4. So 2 times 4, which is the y, needs to equal 2 plus 6. What's 2 times 4? And what's 2 plus 6? And 8 is equal to 8. There's my first check. My second check with that second equation. 3x minus y is equal to 2. Don't start plugging things in until you write the equation down. This is 3 times what's 2? I'm sorry, what's x? 2. And then what's y? 4. 3 times 2? 6. And what is 6 minus 4? And 2 is equal to 2. And there's your check. Okay? And that's it. That's your full process, guys, in terms of solving a system graphically.